Hey, you've got to love live stuff here. So decided it wasn't going to work. So here I am. I'm back. Um, yeah, so welcome to the weekly wrap up. And we are brought to you tonight by, or wherever you are in the world, might be the morning, might be lunchtime, might be middle of the night. So we're brought to you by WeX. And if you want WeX free signals, please head to gettingstartedincrypto.com, click on the free signals, fill out all the information, and we'll give you the free scalp signals. It's super easy. It's that easy. So it's been another boring week in crypto. And lots of stuff happening on Twitter or X, and lots of people fighting on there, which is normally means we're getting kind of to the point where we're going to get something, happening, a reversal, a drop, something like that. So it looks like that is imminent. So, hopefully that happens before Christmas and we get a bit of a Christmas run. If not, I do think going into January, we will likely get some more cuts, and that will be good for crypto. And then we'll start to see some momentum and some liquidity come back in, because right now we're just going sideways forever. And that's when everyone starts to get a bit narky on X and on social media. So we're getting all the arguments about, I think it's going this way, I think it's going this way. So yeah, I think we don't have an absolute direction yet. I'd like to believe we're still bullish. There's still a very good case for that bull case and that pattern. And I'll talk you through both scenarios that I'm kind of seeing. I'm seeing a lot of 40,000s coming out. So I don't necessarily think we're going to 40,000. We haven't broken key pivots as yet. Until they are completely shattered, we're still going up as far as I'm concerned. And this is a correction. So when they shatter, that's when my dreams of being a bull shatter for the next probably 8 months. But right now we're still in that bullish momentum. We're still kind of heading up. So let's jump into those charts and have a look. So this is BTC. Obviously, this is what we're all looking at and arguing about everywhere. So I'm going to go up to a monthly. Actually, I'll pull up this monthly chart. This is Bitfinex. It's got a little bit more data. BLX have cancelled, and the API doesn't go through to TradingView anymore, which is very devastating. But we get a good idea of where this is going and sort of the structure overall. So if we take this as being one like full complete cycle, and we've got a wave high here of a wave 1 and then wave 2 to this point. The reason I think this is a wave 1 and a wave 2 at this point, when we go back through the levels, it doesn't have all the data anymore, but if you go to the BLX, it doesn't overlap. The levels don't overlap. So, it comes back down, wave 2, that's a completed cycle, can overlap. So we've got an overlap here of this and this. And if this was Elliott wave and this was not, if this was not like a wave complete and we were still in this cycle, then this would need to hold above this region. So at this present point, it crosses over. So this went to 20,000, this went to 16,000. that means that's a complete cycle. We're in the next cycle. So that would mean this is in a 3 of 3. This is what I keep telling you. So this is our wave 1 of 3. We're in our wave 2 of 3. Wave 2 of 3 might go sideways for a little bit. Now, if this is, I've seen some patterns where they're counting this slightly differently, and they've got this as a 4. It's pushing it a little bit. It is possible with that wave 4 coming in, then that can go, normally it goes to the 382 or the 0.5. I can see that strategy as well. So we're sitting at the 382, we're sitting at the 0.5 just above that pivot. So that's a strong possibility, and one that I can really truly see at the moment. When we're looking at the monthly, we're really low on the stock RSI. We've got some bearish divergence, but this normally when we are changing momentum and we're getting a bounce, we're sort of turning around and coming back up. So we still haven't done that yet, but we're still in this bearish momentum at the moment. So, that's kind of what we're looking at. If we're looking at this as, hang on, let me remove that. This is like the next wave here. I'll just circle that, highlight it so you can, this wave here is our wave 1, and we're in a wave 2. So that takes us up to these larger patterns that I've been showing you on these charts. So move my logo. So if we're here and we're 1, we're 2, we need to hold this low at 74,445. That is why that region is such a pivotal area. So if we're putting some fibs on this chart and we're seeing where that is gone, we're sitting nicely on that 786. So, that's a full correction. That we might get one more wave down and test this purple trend line, but technically we've got a full correction here if this is the next wave of this wave pattern. So that would take us up, there's several different sort of levels here. 148, haven't got all the fibs marked on here. 148 is a strong contender. 199. So those kind of regions where we're looking at, when we take the diagonal resistance and we take that up, matches here with this fib line at 199. So that is why there's potential that we could go to that region. We do a zigzag forward wave and then we take off fairly quickly. We're still within those 4-year cycles. We're still within the timing. Because a 3 of a 3 moves so fast, like, you're not going to know what hits you if this is actually happening. So, if it goes the other way, obviously it'll probably just move just as fast. But for it to get to, down to the 40s, we'd have to have something really major kind of happen within the market. And we're kind of flat at the moment. So, unless Michael Saylor does go completely broke and, something happens there, I don't see that happening. But there's no chatter of that happening. There's a lot of rumors that are spread by banks, as I discussed last week, but they're just rumors. They're not actual people going, like when we've heard stuff about Luna or we've heard stuff about FTX, and I've been able to bring that information to you. We're getting direct data from these people saying, hey, something's not right in this market. Right at this point of time, it's just people taking positions, like JP Morgan taking short positions. So we want those shorts to continue to build up, and then that's when the longs come in and create all the bear tiers. So yeah, it's a frustrating point at the moment because alts are bleeding out slowly, because everyone's going, I thought I would have made more money by now. And they're just getting frustrated. They're selling out. Taxes are coming up for the US. So that's another reason that people are going to start to take some profits or some losses so they can use those against on their taxes. So, it's kind of a slow region. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we get a tiny bit of a Santa rally. We haven't got much time left to go. We've only got like 10 days. So it's not impossible. I would love to see that 106 mark just tagged, and that pivot there, literally just tagged. So we go, okay, cool. We've got there. We've got to the pivot. We can pull back now with, some ease and care. And we know that when we come back the other way, we need to hold certain levels. So that's kind of what we're waiting for at the moment, because right now we're sitting in no man's land, and it's literally no liquidity coming in, nothing really happening. It's really hard to scalp these regions as well, because the low level scalps are kind of really choppy, and we can see these really, really choppy patterns. So I do think we probably, got a wave to come down this week. We haven't really sort of done much. This is the daily where we're just sort of, sitting here, traveling, not doing much, going a bit sideways. So we've got a little bit of liquidity coming out of the market. That doesn't mean it won't come in. Stock RSI, it's kind of in between as well right at the moment. So it's probably not the fabulous news that you wanted. And so it's slow. It doesn't look like it's getting any faster at the moment. And, that's kind of what's happening. So sorry, guys. I'm going to jump into the DXY because that is kind of looking a bit interesting. And as I said last week, it's rejected. It hopefully will come back down. So, this should continue to lose some strength. Hopefully coming into January, we get those rate cuts coming in. We get some more easing happening. Once we get some more easing happening, there's going to be more money in the market that brings more liquidity to the markets. And, I really do feel that we've got, we've not topped as yet, because we're still hovering in those levels. So, if this was going into a full-on bear market, I'm sure people would be taking a lot more profits at this point and believing that's the case. Bitcoin dominance is still holding support. The total crypto market cap is still in that diamond that I told you about last week. It's still forming. So, it's got probably, if we don't get that run before Christmas, we've got another couple of weeks to fill this out. We could go sideways for the whole of January. And that's going to be a nightmare on X, because everyone's going to be so toxic. It's not funny. But it is kind of just moving sideways at the moment. So again, not a lot of direction to be found there either. For Ethereum, we've got an interesting candle. So this one is in a downtrend, so we should pull back a little bit and then before we head up. So if we go back and we have a look at where that candle has formed, we have got a bit of an uptrend after we got a down candle here, but it went up significantly after. Over here, we went sort of sideways, a little bit down, and then we went significantly up after. So that same candle has formed here. So potentially we've got, the next weekly candle coming in, and we're going to be, if we can get a little bit of momentum, maybe up to sort of 350 on ETH, and then we may get a pullback going into the next week. So ideally, we want to break that pivot there as well. That would be the ideal scenario for ETH. As I keep saying, if we're looking at 2017 market and we go back and we have a look through there and we go, okay, ETH ran for a couple of weeks to about 6 weeks after BTC had already topped in 2017. So, December 18 happened, BTC topped, kind of hovered there, pulled back a little bit. ETH continued, the alts continued to run. We haven't really seen like that run happen. Maybe the market's different, maybe it's not. So we can only look through, the information that we have and go, this is a possibility because this has happened before. We now have more people in the market. We have ETFs. We have, Wall Street. We have all of that. So, is that going to drive this market higher, or are we going to continue sideways for a bit more? So it's kind of what we're seeing here at the moment. So yeah, it's not looking awesome, but it's not looking ugly either as yet. We haven't hit that point where we're, the market's absolutely melting down. Now, if we want to have a look astrology wise, so I've been playing with this a little bit. We used to have Marin on X that used to do that. I don't know where she is. Is she still around? I don't know. Anyway, maybe they got so rich she disappeared. But anyway, talking to somebody on there on X yesterday, we don't have the signs that this is going to be a black swan according to the skies. It's showing that there could be, a little bit of a pullback over the next couple of weeks. We're not really seeing that major black swan event until we're going into sort of, 2028, 2029 is where we see the major market pullbacks. So, and that's kind of when we go back through, 2008, we saw COVID crash in 2020. Then we're kind of going through those, and we're looking at pointers in the sky, and we had angry Mars, we had Neptune, we had Pluto all clashing. So, in a trine or in a square, and that usually brings that destruction. So for anyone that is interested in that, it's an interesting read. And there's a lot of stuff that you can find online about that. And it does tend to line up with those certain planetary actions happening. So I don't see that at the moment either, but weekly we've got easing sell pressure on ETH, which is a good sign that we will get some momentum still happening. So if we go back to BTC, put this up to the weekly. Similar, we've got a little bit of easing. It's pretty much equal, neutral here. But, the thing that sort of says, okay, we might be bouncing very soon is this stock indicator. Once we get to these lows, we start moving. We're also really low on the RSI, like for BTC. So on the weekly, which means we start moving. So, when people keep bringing in 40K, I'm just like, indicators are not quite showing that yet. So, I could see if we were, still at these levels and we were super high, then we'd be going, okay, maybe at this point we have topped and we're coming back down. But until this pivot here, this orange one, I've marked it in orange, until that breaks, we are no direction. So we're not even a boy band yet. We're not even One Direction. There's my really bad mom joke. So laughing at my own jokes. So hopefully you guys are laughing. But yeah, so we're no direction. So we're just coasting sideways. But yeah, that's about it. I can't even look at alts because they're just they're bleeding. Every time I look at one, it bleeds to death. So we won't get Lisa to look at them. But something does need to happen to the market. We need to tighten up some of those alts. We need to get rid of the 50,000 bazillion alts that we have. And a lot of that liquidity can come in through those closing, come back into the market, come back into the majors, come back even into the top, 100, 200 would be ideal. So, coming into 2020, we had maybe the top 5,000 were really running like because there was enough liquidity. Right now, we throttled the liquidity and the market just doesn't move. There's not enough liquidity to move everything at the rate that it used to move because it's so dispersed. So that's what we need. We need some restructuring to happen in the market, maybe a flush out of, something like the, dare I say, meme coins, and all the crappy ones that are built on top of other chains like Solana or, Ethereum that have all of these like just weird and wonderful things that do nothing. So the crypto market needs to grow up. It needs to decide what it is, what actually works, and then push that forward. So the market can grow and evolve, because right now it's just sitting there stagnant and something needs to give. So yeah, hopefully there's not a lot of insight in this tonight, but yeah, I will update if we get any major changes. And yeah, if you've been on X, I will drop what I found about the algos over the last month. It's almost finished writing it, so either tomorrow or on Wednesday. So it's quite an interesting find because X has changed the way they do things. And it's been happening for a while. We've just been sort of ignoring that. But maybe that's the same as what's happening in crypto. And we just need to be ready to move on this stuff. So yeah, so hopefully there's some positives in this week and moving into Christmas. So we've still got 10 days. So yeah, so thank you for joining. And don't forget, we were brought to you by WeX. And if you want those free signals, head to gettingstartedincrypto.com and check that out. So yeah, I'll catch you all again next week, and maybe in between if something major happens. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.